All right, it's TNA time with the database guru himself, Mr. Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. If you guys are not giving him a follow, he puts out awesome content all over Twitter every single day.
Hey, Cal, I want to start this off with a quick little commercial / promo. This summer, we all had a lot of time on our hands, and I did a lot of work in the database. I hadn't handicapped teasers in the past. And, my good friend Ed Meyer in Cleveland, who has Killer Sports, talks about the value of teasers in certain specific spots. So I've used my top teaser 2 weeks ago, an easy winner, used my top teaser this past week. And when I looked at the games, I'm going to have my first ever 5% NFL teaser. So I wanted to do a test. How many people are watching this TNA segment? This is the only place you can get this coupon. Everyone else will be paying $40. But if you go to my teaser on Saturday or Sunday, it will be up Saturday, hit coupon code TAND, the letter T, A-N-D, the letter A, and you're going to save $22 and pay just $18 for my first ever 5% teaser.
I love it, Ralph. I'm just going to text you for your NFL teaser. Can't wait to check it out. You have a plethora of information for us this week, and I know we have somewhat of a limited time, so I'm just going to let you run with it. I have a few talking points here I may chime in, but you now have the floor.
Well, let's start off with the best offenses and the worst offenses. I put this question out on Twitter, Kel, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Name the only team in the NFL that has had back-to-back 400-yard performances. Who comes to mind? Seattle, Green Bay, maybe Dallas?
I hope it's not the Buffalo Bills.
It's the LA Rams. The LA Rams are the only team to have 400 yards in each of the first 3 games. So, that really surprised me. No one talks about the Rams offense. Everyone's talking about Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. So that's just a note. So when I looked at teams, this is only the 13th team in NFL history since 1989. And again, guys, when I say NFL history, I mean my database history, which is 1989. So since 1989, they're only the 14th team to do it. And how about this? From 1989 to 2011, those teams went 6-0 ATS. Since that time, they've gone 0-6 ATS after starting the first 3. Again, a small sample size. When I did the opposite, anytime we're going to look at positives, let's look at the negatives. Which 2 teams, this one's much easier to guess, have had under 300 yards each of the first 3 weeks? That, of course, being the New York Giants and the New York Jets. So when I look at these teams that have poor performances the first 3 weeks, going back to 1989, they are actually 36-24, 60% against the spread, game number 4. The home record, 15-15-2, which leaves us with a very good away record. Road teams that gained under 300 yards weeks 1, 2, and 3 are 17-5-1 against the spread, 77% since 1984. Now, do you have enough guts to bet the Giants in that role? I don't think I do, but the number does point out that those teams are embarrassed. They find a way to adjust, and Vegas overcompensates for the line.
All right, Ralph, last week we saw something that doesn't happen all that often, but we saw a coach play for a tie, maybe because the NFC East is so horrible, he thought a 7-8-1 record is somehow going to win the division. All jokes aside, talk to me about the 2 teams off a tie, that is the Bengals and the Eagles.
Well, 26 times in the database. If you blindly look at the teams that played for a tie, the next game they've gone 9-17 against the spread. But as I always do, I break it down home and away. At home, they're 7-6. That's going to leave us a very poor road record. Teams on the road off a tie, 2-11 ATS. And then I started looking.
Downright ugly.
Yeah, if you're playing for a tie, are you motivated? I guess not. I mean, I guess depending how you got to the tie. Some teams may be motivated. Some teams may feel like it's like a loss. So you really don't know. I mean, if you're the Philly head coach, you probably think it's a win, right? Because you punted with, a minute to go. This one's sort of unique. not a very big sample size. But, we know the Monday night game probably got a lot of ratings. We're not sure the Thursday game is going to be able to match it with the Jets in Denver. But when I started looking at Thursday night home teams, if you have a Thursday night home team with the lines between the twos, so what does that mean? It means you have a team very similar to you as far as talent goes or record goes. Well, Thursday night home teams, you're not going to be happy to hear this, Kelly, with the lines between the 2.5s. So you're a 2-point favorite, 1-point favorite, 1-point dog, or 2-point dog. 18-6, 75% for the New York Jets.
See, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Now, with this line move, maybe if you had Jets +3, I could see it. But I don't know. Now that the Jets are almost moving into the favorite position, this one is probably going to keep me off. One of the questions I have for you is one of the biggest things that kind of just keeps me like a little bit, I'm a little risk adverse on, is big road favorites. The Baltimore Ravens don't get it done on Monday night. The look-ahead line is 12. Now, all of a sudden, they're 13.5-point road favorites to the Washington football team. Do you have any trends one way or another there?
Yeah, a little of both. Because if you look back through the database, big away favorites have been a negative. But we've seen a big switch in the last few years since 2016. We've had a lot of better teams. We've had the Patriots and the Chiefs and the Ravens who go on the road and have been beating people handily. So since 2016, away favorites of 7.5 or more, 33-15, 69%. And in that same time period, away favorites of 12.5 or more, obviously it hasn't happened much. It's only happened 9 times. But those 9 teams, away favorites of 12.5 or more, have gone 6-2-1 against the spread, covering 75%.
I mean, one would think that the Ravens are just a little pissed off this week. All right, last but not least, before you get to your system plays, we have quite a handful of 3-0 teams. You have a trend that either supports them or play against them here.
I will say this. On Wager Talk today, that I do a segment with Prez and Teddy, I broke down every scenario. 3-0 teams versus 2-1, 3-0 versus 1-2, 3-0 versus 0-3. If you want to know all those scenarios, just go back and watch the last 10 minutes of Wager Talk today from Wednesday, September 30th. But I want to give 2 specifics here. 3-0 teams at home versus a non-division foe, with the line being a dog or a favorite up to 6.5. So it sounds like a lot of variables, but it's not that much. 3-0 at home, non-division, either a dog or a small favorite. That's the Chicago Bears this week. 17-4 since 1989, 81% when you're in that role. I will mention it went 1-1 last year, so it actually was 16-3. Last year, Green Bay lost to Philly in that same role, and San Francisco beat Cleveland. But 3-0 home team against a non-division foe with a line as a dog or a favorite up to 6.5. And then here's one I picked out, a 2-1 team versus a 1-2 team. And the 2-1 team is off back-to-back wins, and they're a favorite. So they obviously lost their opener. They won week 2. They won week 3. So they're feeling good. They're 2-1. When those teams are a favorite against a 1-2 team, like Tampa Bay is against the Chargers, the Tampa Bay Bucks in a situation where they're 10-20 against the spread, 33%. 10 winners, 30 losers. And I wanted to quickly just go through 2 systems, write these systems down, use them all year long. Road teams off a home game if their opponent allowed 400 more yards last game. So Cleveland, Arizona, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh would have been. They're on the road this week. They played a home game last week, and the team they're playing allowed 400 yards. Those teams in that simple system, 72, 31, and 4, that's 70% against the spread. Again, that applies to Cleveland, Arizona, and Buffalo. And the last one, if you were outgained in your last game and you won that game as a dog and you're now a favorite. So the Green Bay Packers were outgained against the Saints. They won that game as a dog. They are now a favorite against Atlanta next Monday night. Since 2015, 38, 18, and 2, 68% ATS.
That's a great stat. Thank you to Mr. Ralph Michaels. Again, make sure you guys are giving him a follow on Cal Sports LV. When we return, we've got some really good information from the guys. We got barking dogs and best bets.